15th Yum, Chag Shabua, Feast of Weeks. This is a Yum where Yahuwah Elohim commanded even our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, even those in times past that observed this day as a day of observance to offer up the first fruit, offer up the first fruit, how you say, to Yahuwah. So this is Wisdom of Solomon, Shaluma, ODE 8. It says, hear the word of truth and receive the knowledge of Yahuwah. Your flesh may not understand what I'm about to say to you, right? So we look at our flesh, right? We look at our natural man. It is not made to understand things that are unseen or the Ruach. It says, your flesh may not understand what I'm about to say to you, nor your garments that which I'm about to declare to you. Keep my mystery, you who are kept by it. Keep my amuna, you who are kept by it. So you think you got amuna, belief. Belief in what? Belief in the mystery, belief in the knowledge, right? But how do you get that knowledge? How do you get that belief? Amuna comes by hearing, and hearing by the word, the bar of Yahuwah, right? Verse 11 says, and understand my knowledge. Verse 11 says, understand my knowledge, you who know me in truth, you who know the truth. Love me with affection, you who love. You who love. That's why you keep this day, this feast, right? You keep it because you love Yahuwah, right? You who love. Why? He says, for I turn not my face from my own, because I know them. He knows who every one of us are. He knows who we are. He said, I don't turn my face from you, right? He says, verse 13 says, and before they had existed, I recognized them and imprinted a seal on their faces. So he printed a seal on our forehead. He said he printed a seal on our faces. Before you even had existed, he chose you. Why? He said, I fashioned their members in my own breast. I prepared for them that they might drink my Kudash milk and live by it. So he already picked you to drink his Kudash milk. He picked you already. He picked you before you was even born, right? He said, I am pleased by them and I am not ashamed by them, right? You look at him not being ashamed of you, not wanting to cast away, not wanting to turn his back on you, right? For my work are they and the power of my thoughts. So you look at the power of Yahuwah's thoughts, his thoughts, how he formed and made everything, how he picked you in his thoughts before you even came into the world and existed. That is something that goes beyond any type of comprehension or any type of power that one can actually even understand for themselves, right? So this is Mashalih Proverbs 8 through 11. All the words of my mouth are righteous, and there's nothing twisted or crooked in them. There's nothing twisted or crooked in Yahuwah's mouth. Nothing. They are all straight, or nakuak, to him who understands, and right to those who find knowledge. Take my instructions instead of silver and gold, and knowledge rather than gold. Take instructions rather than silver and gold. That's why you keep the Chag Shabua. That's why you keep Bakur, right? You keep the first fruit. Why? Because you don't accept gold and silver. You don't esteem gold and silver before this day. Why? Because if you did, you wouldn't be working today. You will go out and do your employment. You will go out and do the things that you normally would do, but you don't. Why? For wisdom is better than jewels. It's better than anything you can acquire in the life. And all that you may desire cannot compare with it. Nothing you in this world you can desire can compare with it. Why? Because you love Yahuwah more than you love silver, gold, and jewels. And you love his hukmah, his wisdom, right? And that wisdom is what? It gives you life. It gives you life on the inside. Why? Because it's your Kudash milk. It is your understanding for your consciousness, right? So the word for Amar is, we know as, how you say, words in this verse is utterance, right? It's Amar or Amer, right? It means what? Utterance, speech, promise, command, appointed unto, said. The word, the bar that's spoken, that one holds in high value above silver and gold and jewels and anything in the world, is the Yahuwah's promise. It is his promise. His promise. The word for crooked is ikesh, right? It's what? He said they are all straight. He says all the words of Yahuwah are not crooked. So you look at distorted, false, crooked, or perverse. Nothing in his mouth is forward, false, crooked, or perverse. Nothing. It's his promise. The word for straight is nakuach, right? It is what? Straightforward, equitable, correct, integrity, uprightness, and innocence. It is innocence, it is uprightness to the individual or family that what? Receives it. It'll make you straightforward, equitable, and make you increase your value, correct, integrity, uprightness, and innocence. It will make you innocent. Right? Same thing. Marshally, Proverbs 3:1. My son, do not forget my teachings, right? What do you actually hold memories at? You hold memories in your thoughts. You hold memories in your cognitive consciousness, right? But let your heart keep my commandments. Let your heart, your lave, your mind keep my commandments, right? That's why one keeps Chag Shabua. Why? Because you letting your heart and your mind, you keeping the commandments with your mind. He said, yeah, what do you mean keep it with your mind? Yeah, your mind functions and goes down to your whole body, and your whole body follows that. Whatever your mind says, that's what your body does. For length of days and years, and shalom will be added to you. It will be added. It's extra. That's an extra benefit of doing it. Let not steadfast love and faithfulness forsake you. That's why one obeys the commandments, because you don't want steadfast love and faithfulness to forsake you. You don't want to lose that. Why? It says, bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablets of your mind, in your heart. Write them on the tablets of your heart. Katab. You inscribe it on you. Why? So you will find favor and good success. So whatever you put your hands to do, your 10 fingers, right? Your 10 spheres, your 10 fingers on your hand, whatever you put your hand to do, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have good success. So people saying, how do I know I have good success? Have you done anything? Have you moved about? Have you used your hands and did something? He said, find good success in the sight of Yahuwah and man. So in the sight of human beings and Yahuwah, you will find good success. It says, trust in Yahuwah with all your heart, with all of it. And do not lean to your own understanding. What do you mean own? Our own thoughts, our own mind. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths, right? Be not wise in your own eyes, right? In your own thoughts, in your own mind, in your own eyes, right? Why? Because you look at yourself he said, be wise in your own eyes. Where you see your eyes at? You look in the mirror. You're going to be wise for yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror, and you're going to forget everything you're supposed to do. He said, be not wise in your own eyes. Fear Yahuwah. Fear him. Yareh Yahuwah. And what? Turn away from Ra, evil. It will be healing to your navel and refreshment to your bones. As we spoke about before, well, we always start here. Why? It'll be healing. He said, Rafuth, right? Rafuth. Sure, right? So the word for it, we know your navel and your flesh is what? Sure. Umbilical cord, navel. Navel string, your connection. Your Rafuth, sure. It will be healed. Your connection will be healed. Why? It's important. Your cord, right? You connect it to somebody. When you keep the commands of your mother and father, Yahuwah, you connect it to him. And whatever he says, you do, and then guess what happens? Success in the sight of Yahuwah and man, right? So here we go. This is, because healing is Rafuth. Rafuth is what? It's going to be a cure for you. What do you mean a cure? Being connected back is a cure. Yes, it's a cure. It's a cure for your health. Healing for your body. Your shikui, right? It'll be refreshment, right? When we look at that word refreshment to your bones, it'll be a drink. It'll be a refreshment, a drink. It'll give you some type of relief from thirst, because you got to stay hungry. You got to stay thirsty. Why? Because if he give you thirst, he said, Yahushua said, if you hunger, he said, if you hunger and thirst after righteousness, he said, I'm here to give you something for that. I'm giving you a relief. It's going to relieve you of that, right? So this is word for bones is what? A stem. It'll be healing to your bones. Or he say, shikui estem, right? It'll be healing to your external body, your essence, who you are, your essence, right? Your bones, your substance, your body, right? Your bones, your essence. So you look at yourself, you look at your essence, you look at who you are, right? All these are all part of who you are, right? So this is Tahalim, Psalms 139:7. It says, where should I go from your Ruach? Like, where are you going to go from it? Or where shall I flee from your presence? Where can you flee from Yahuwah's presence? Yahuwah sits in the highest Shamaim, above the Shabba'i Shamaims, and on his throne high above all the Shabba'i Shamaims, even over the Rakia, even over the surface of the earth, and even on the center of the earth, even down to Sheol and the other worlds. He said, where I'm going to go? Where I'm going to flee from your Ruach? He said, where shall I flee from your presence? You can't. If I ascend to Shamaim, yeah, you are there. If you ascend into Shamaims, if you go into the Shamaims, into Rakia, he there. In the expanse in the firmament, he is there. If I make my bed in Sheol, you are there. If you go all the way to the other worlds and down to the levels of Sheol, down to the lower levels of those realms, guess what? He's there too. If I take my wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, even under the sea. In the most deepest parts of the earth, you build an underground water city. He said he is there. He is there. You can live under there. He is still there. No matter where you go, you still can't sin. You still can't sin. You still can't do anything wrong. He said, I'm gonna see you. He says, and guess what he says? Even there, your hand shall lead me. Huh? His hand gonna be there. He gonna lead you there. You still can't sin. You still can't do anything wrong. You still can't do it. And he says, and your right hand shall hold me. So people be like, ain't no life after this life. I say, you still can't sin. Even when you go to the next life, you still can't do nothing. You still can't sin. He said, if I say, surely darkness shall cover me, if darkness gonna cover me, and light, and the light about me be night, even darkness is not dark to you. So no matter how dark it may get, it may be the darkest, it may be dark just like Hades, just like Sheol and hell itself. It may be come up from the depths of Sheol. He said, man, I still can see you. He's like thick darkness that somebody can touch it. He said, I still can see you. He said, if I say, surely darkness shall cover me, or about me be night, even the darkness is not dark to you. The night is as bright as the day. It's just as bright as the day. For darkness is as light with you. This darkness is the same way as light for him. Light is darkness and darkness is light. He can see through all of it. Because Yahuwah is 10,000 times brighter than the sun. He can see past that. You can look at the sun at its highest point and see it in its full strength. Yahuwah is 10,000 times brighter than that. Right? So you look at that word for darkness is kashak. Darkness, obscurity, darkness. And guess what it also means? Right? It also means this. Right? When you start looking at it, it means misery. Right? Misery, destruction. It means death. Darkness is death. Ignorance. When you talk about ignorance is a great evil. He said ignorance is darkness. Sorrow is darkness. Wickedness is darkness. All this is all geared towards what? He said, man, even if I think darkness is going to cover me, he said, you can see through that too. He said, ignorance, right? So the word for lead, he said, no matter where I go, he going to lead, right? The word for lead is nakah. It means to lead, to guide, to lead, to bring, to guide, to transport, to govern, right? That's what he said. He no matter what, if I go to ascend into Shamaim, you there. If I build my bed in Sheol, you there. If I go to the uttermost depths of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me. It doesn't matter where I go. No matter where you go. People say, I don't need the Ruach. You need the Ruach before you go to Sheol. Why? Because you're going to need it there too. Why? Because you can't, where are you going to go from it? It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Right? So when you look at, he said, darkness is going to cover me, right? Bereshith 1:1. We counted 13 days. We counted 50th day. We on the 50th day. This is how you say, you count 49 days. We was on the Shabbat. You count the 7th Shabbat, and you get to the first day. He said, darkness. He said, where shall I go from your Ruach? This is Bereshith 1:1. In the beginning, Elohim created the Shamaim in the earth, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness is over the face of the deep. Right? If darkness covered me, where am I going to go? He said, where am I going to go from your Ruach? And the Ruach of Elohim was hovering on the face of the waters. Where am I going to go from your Ruach? He said, even if darkness will cover me, where am I going to go? Even if darkness covers me. He said, man, darkness is a light to you. He said the Ruach Elohim was hovering on the face of the waters. And Elohim said, let there be or, and there was or. And Elohim saw the light, it was good. And Elohim separated the light from the darkness. He separated it. Right? Just like one separates now. How you say badal, he separated you from whatever you were doing, right? Why? And Elohim called the or yum, and the darkness he called night. Right? He said, darkness is as light for you, to you. It doesn't matter what I could hide in the kashak, but darkness is as light to you, right? And he says, Elohim separated the light from the darkness, and Elohim called the or yum, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening and there was morning, akad yum, right? Akad yum, right? So when you look at beginning, in the beginning, right? Because you know we got the bith first. You got the house. The house, you have Rashith, right? The house, Rashith, the beginning. The house, the beginning. The creation of the Elohims. The house, the beginning. The creation of the Elohims. Right? You go to 1 and 5. And Elohim called the light or yum, and darkness he called night. And there was evening and the morning, akad yum. So you have kara, Elohim, laor. Then you have yum. And you have lakashak. Right? What was the word for darkness in Tahalim? He said, if darkness is going to cover me, he said, your darkness is as light. I can't hide in it. Whether shall I go from your ruach? It says Kurah, and it says what? Layla, Haya, Areb, Haya, Uhaya, Bakar, Yum, Akkad. Beginning of the house, the creation of the Elohims. And it's what? He said, darkness, he said, you can't hide from Yahuwah. He said, where shall I go from your ruach? He said, darkness is just as light. Darkness shines just as light. Right? He said, if I take up the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, he said, your hand shall lead me. Right? Darkness, even darkness covered you. Right? And darkness is over here in the first day. It was darkness over the face of the deep. But guess what? In Mashali 4 and 7, it says, the beginning of wisdom is this. Get wisdom, kukma, and with all you get understanding. Right? Because why? Because that is the beginning. Because that is the beginning. Right? The word for akkad is what? The word for one is akkad. Right? It means one. United. United. One. First. First. Why? You look at akkad, when you add it up according to the mathematical sequence, akkad is 1, kath is 8, and daleth is 4, which equals to 13. That's exactly, when you add up 49, that's how many days you counted to get to this day. 49, 4 plus 9 is 13. You get to this day, and what? It's the first day, akkad. It's akkad, and it's one. It's first, united as one. Tahalim 82 and 1. Yahuwah has taken his place in the divine council. In the midst of the Elohims, he holds judgment. Right? In the midst of the Elohims, he holds judgment. The house, the beginning of the creation of the Elohims, he holds judgment. How long will you judge unjustly and show partiality to the wicked? A lot of people show partiality today. He says, Salah, give justice, true judgment he gives justice to the weak. Give judgment for the weak and the fatherless. Maintain the right of the afflicted and the destitute. Defend those who are weak. Defend those who don't have any fathers. Defend those who don't have functioning homes. Why? Rescue the weak and the needy, because those people are prey. They're prey to what? They're prey to other things, other beings, other people. They're prey to people who pillage and take and destroy their homes. They're prey. Deliver them from out of the hand of the wicked. Huh? People see all these superheroes things on television, and they see a house of people a family in distress, and they send a hero to come and help them, right? They send somebody to help them. Why? Because of what? Because they're in distress. They need help. And people saying, why he telling you to defend those the fatherless and the weak and the destitute? Why? Because that's who you are. He says they have neither knowledge nor understanding. They don't know. They don't have no understanding of what? They walk in darkness. If darkness will cover me, He said, your darkness is light. He says, all the foundation of the earth are shaken. It's all shaken. Guess what it says? I said, you are Elohims. What is he trying to tell you? He's trying to tell you who you are. I said, you are Elohims, sons of the Most High Yahuwah. So what are you supposed to be doing? People saying, I'm a Elohim. Yahuwah just said, first day of creation, right? The Kadiyum, which is today. This is the first day of the week, right? How you say a Kadiyum. He's saying telling you are an Elohim. Defend. Give justice to the weak, the fatherless, the destitute, the afflicted, the weak, the needy. That's what you are. It says all of you, not just some of you. Oh, let me guess. It's just, it's just the men. No, he's saying all of you. Nevertheless, he says like men, because it says like Adam. When that word is, he says like men, it means like Adam. You shall all die. But Adam was made both, he was male and female. He said, you shall all die. Why? Because you're going to all die. He said, I said you were Elohims, but guess what? You the sons of Yahuwah. But guess what? You're going to all die like Adam. You shall die. And fall like any prince, any ruler. Arise, O Yahuwah, judge the earth, for you shall inherit the nations. The Goyim, right? He's telling you who you are, right? Yuchanan 10:34. Yahushua answered them. Is it not written in your Torah, your law, I said you are Elohim? Is it not written? This is the first day. He said, you are Elohim. If he called them Elohim, and to whom the word of Yahuwah came, the scripture cannot be broken. You can't change it. I don't want to be who I am. I don't want to be an Elohim. Well, guess what? Yahuwah is like, you can't change it. He says, do you say of him whom the Father consecrated and sent into the world? He said, you are blaspheming because I said I am the son of Elohim. If I am not doing the works of my Father, then do not believe me. Don't even believe him. Don't even believe him. Why do you think he was beating the people out, selling and getting gain inside of the temple? He was defending the weak, the fatherless, the destitute, the needy. Why do you think he was doing it? He says, then do not believe me. But if I do them, even though you do not believe me, believe the works, that you may know and understand that the Abba is in me and I am in the Father. Why? Because he's showing you that who you are, he said you must be. I'm telling you, didn't I say you were Elohim? Because you saying I'm blaspheming because I said I'm the son of Yahuwah? But didn't I say you are too? I said you are the Elohims too. Right, this is Yahuwah, Joel 2:1. Blow the Turah, or the trumpet in Saon. Sound an alarm on Makadash mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of Yahuwah is coming. It is coming. It is near. A day of darkness, kashak. Even if darkness cover me, your hand, he said, you're going to see me because darkness is light to you. He said, a day of darkness and gloom. And darkness is over the face of the deep. And the Ruach, where shall I go from your Ruach? Was moving upon the face of the waters. And it says, darkness, kashak, and gloom. A day of clouds and thick darkness. Right? Or arafel, like blackness. There is spread upon the mountains a great and powerful people. A great and powerful people. Is it not written in your law, your Torah? I said you are Elohim. He said, there like has never been before, nor will be again after them, through the years of all generations. Fire devours before them. It devours before them, which means in front of them. It says, and behind them flame burns. The flames burn. The land is like the Garden of Eden. It's just like the garden. It's like the Garden of Eden, but it ain't the Garden of Eden. It's like the Garden of Eden, just like you see the imposters today. They're trying to create the Garden of Eden, but it's actually not. It says, before them, but behind them a desolate wilderness, and nothing escapes them. He say nothing escapes. He said a great and powerful people. Is it not written in your Torah? Is it not written that you are Elohim? Is it not written? This is word for thick darkness is arafal. Cloud, heavy dark cloud, darkness. Right? Lowering sky. It says right here. You ever seen a cloud with a whirlwind in it? And they have they call it a wall cloud, and it lowers down on the ground. You ever seen it? It lowers down. He said thick gloom. He said dark cloud. He said that's how it's going to be. Darkness, right? So the word for powerful is atstum. Atstum. He said a powerful people. He said atstum, a mighty. It's going to be vast, numerous people. Strong people, powerful. It had powerful. Powerful, right? Mighty, right? Numerous. Implication, right? It also means feeble, right? Strong. He said a powerful people. What are they going to be doing? Right? People saying, what do you mean they're going to be doing? This is Bereshit 38:13-8. And Abraham said to Lut, let there be no strife between you and me. That's how it should be. When one gets into strife, he's like, okay, let there be no strife between you and me. That's how it should be in any aspect of your life. It says, and between your herdsmen and my herdsmen. Let us not be there, for we are kinsmen. We are related. Is not the whole land before you? We got all this room. Separate yourself from me. Badal. He said, badal from me. He says, if you take the left hand, then I will go to the right. Or if you take the right hand, then I will go to the left. We compromise, right? He says, and Lut lifted up his eyes and saw that the Yarden Valley was well watered, everything like the garden of Yahuwah. He said it was watered just like the Garden of Eden. But he said, man, it's just like the Garden of Eden before them, but it's desolate behind them. And it's gonna be just like fire, right? He's a powerful people. A day of Yahuwah, a day of darkness. Just like it was in the beginning. Just like it was in Bereshit. Is it not written in your Torah? And he says what? Like the land of Mizraim. You see what happened to Mizraim? You see what happened to Mizraim? He said, man, it's just like the garden. It's water. It's like the garden. That place is green. Green trees, green leaves, everything just green. It looked just like the garden. But it says in the direction of Zoar, right? So skip down to, you go to, what's this, Bereshit 19:23. It says the sun had risen on the earth when Lut came to Zoar, right? Then Yahuwah rained on Sodom and Gomorrah, sulfur and fire from Yahuwah out of Shamayim, right? He rained down fire. He rained down fire on that place. Why? Because they had behaviors that were of Mizraim and Sodom and Gomorrah. It was like the Garden of Eden, but it looked like the Garden of Eden. It had the same attributes of the Garden of Eden, but inside the garden, there was no sin in it. There was no people doing wrong, right? There was no rot inside of it until other people came inside, right? So the word for fire is ish. It means fire, flames, flame, right? So you see the day of Yahuwah as flames and fire, supernatural fire, supernatural fire, supernatural fire. Yahuwah's anger, figuratively fire, burning, right? This is Jeremiah 23:29. Let the Nabi, the prophet who has a dream, or Nabiyah, right? Who has a dream, tell the dream. But let who has my debar speak my debar faithfully. What has the straw in common with the wheat? What is the straw in common with the wheat? I got straw, I got wheat. He said, but it says straw and wheat here, declares Yahuwah. Is not my word like fire? So how do you think he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah? How do you think he destroyed the city? By his debar, by his word, his ish, his fire. It says, declares Yahuwah, and like a hammer that breaks the rocks in pieces. Yeah, we talking about a hammer. We ain't talking about Thor's hammer. We ain't talking about Tahuti's hammer. We talking about Yahuwah's hammer, his debar, right? You know what is it? And the word for straw is taben, right? Taben. What is that? Straw, stubble, building material, right? Material, right? He said, what is the difference? What's that? Material. He said, what is this? He said, what is it? What does it have in common? Building material, straw, stubble, for livestock, right? Fodder, chopped. Right, that word for grain, he said they have wheat in here, but the word for wheat is bar. He said, what's the difference between a taben and bar? What do they have in common? This is winnowing grain. He said winnowing grain, corn, wheat, grain, corn. Right, he's saying, why would he say, what in common do they have? Why? Because he just said, it's not my word like fire, right? Ish. Why? Because he said, I'm going to burn it all up. He said, I'm going to burn it all up. He said, by my debar, I'm going to burn it all up. Just like you saw the great and powerful people. In front of them was the garden. But in behind them, it was like what? Destitute. It was destroyed. Why? He said, a great and powerful people. A great and powerful people. Intelligent people. Intellectual people. Right? But he's saying that it's just like the garden. You see how it is? You see how it looks? But it ain't the garden. It ain't the gun. Right? The word for each is fire, supernatural fire, right? You see all these things, right? The same word that you saw for when he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah with fire. Supernatural fire. He destroyed it with supernatural fire, with Malakim, with Garba'al and Mik'al, when they went into the city to look at it. Supernatural fire. He said a great and strong people, powerful people, right? So the word for a hammer, when you talking about Thor's hammer, is patish. And when we talking about Thor's hammer, we talking about Yahuwah's hammer. Here's the bar, right? It's what? Forge hammer, a hammer. Yahuwah's the bar is the hammer. It's the sludge hammer, right? People saying why he's saying defend the destitute, the fatherless, defend those who are needy and poor. These were all things that they in the world they have Thor that does it when people need help. But he's telling you that you are Elohim. Is it not written in your Torah that's what you are? Oh, you say, I don't believe in Yahushua Mashiach yet. Right? But he said what? A forged hammer. That's what it is, right? This is Tahalim 18 and 25. With the merciful, you show merciful. With the blameless man, you show yourself blameless. So if you blameless, Yahuwah show himself blameless. You merciful, Yahuwah show himself to you that way. With the purified, you show yourself pure. He does that for you too. So if you pure, you blameless, and you merciful, that's how Yahuwah going to present himself to you. So it's just like any other thing, a job interview or any place you go and meet someone or a person you want to form a relationship with. However you present yourself, that's how they're going to receive you. Like, okay, that's how that person is. Guess what? I'm going to be just like how you are. It says, and with the crooked, you make yourself seem tortuous, right? And guess what it said? For you save the humble people. That's what he's going to do. He said, I'm going to save the humble people. He's talking about this great army of people that he going to have are going to be humble. This great army, this powerful people, they're going to be humble people. They're such as have never been. But the haughty eyes you bring down. What do you think he's going to burn it all down? He's like, what is the chaff? What is the wheat? What is what is that to me? Right? What is all that stuff to me? Guess what he says? For it is you who light my lamp. When you light a lamp, when it's in dark, when you're in darkness, he said, it is you who light my lamp. Yahushua said what? 10 virgins, 5 were wise and 5 were foolish. Who was light? It says, 10. He said 5 kept their lamps continually burning. The other one, the foolish. You mean the haughty, the foolish? What happened to their lamp? It went out, and guess what happened? They had to go buy it to those who sell. But the wise said, they said, give us some of your oil. He said, nah. But who kept the lamp? He said, who lights it? Who keep it lit? He keeps it lit. Because you blameless, you show yourself pure, and you merciful to people. Yahuwah my Elohim lightens my darkness. Why do you think David said it's going to be like darkness is light to you? He lightened his darkness. When it was darkness over the face of the deep in Bereshith, when it was darkness, he said, day of Yahuwah is going to be a day of darkness, but it's going to be light to those this powerful people who walk in his fire. If you walk in his fire, guess what you're going to do when you start walking on stuff? What's going to happen? Things going to start to burn up. It looked like the garden, though. But it ain't the garden. Or the gun. It says, for by you I can run against the troop. Huh? He said, what? Yahuwah lightens my darkness. So if you dark on the inside, this ain't talking to you. If you ain't lit on the inside with the or light frequency, with the ruach, he ain't talking about it. He ain't talking about you. He said, for by you I can run through a troop. I can run against the troop. Huh? And by my Elohim, I can leap over a wall. It is Yahuwah who lights my lamp. So your lamp lit, he literally telling you, he said, isn't that written in your Torah? Didn't I say what you are? He said, for by you I can run against a troop. And by my Elohim, I can leap over a wall. This Elohim, his way is perfect. Be ye therefore perfect as your Abba and Shamayim is perfect. Matthew 5:48. He said, this way is perfect. Or blameless. It says, the word of Yahuwah proves true. His fire proves true. He said, is Yahuwah lights my lamp. He'll make me run through a troop. As a matter of fact, I can leap over a wall with Yahuwah. People say, huh? But that's what he said you are. He said, this Elohim, his way is perfect. The word of Yahuwah proves true. He's a shield to those who take refuge in him. Are you taking refuge in Yahushua Mashiach? He said, all that immersion into Yahushua have put him on. You have put him on. You literally have put him on. He's lit your lamp. He's like, I can run through a troop with my Elohim. I can leap over a wall. People saying, what do you mean by that? Book of Yasher 39:25. What is the matter with you in the battle that you cannot prevail? Can you then do unto the mighty city of Gaash and its inhabitants as you did to the cities of the Amorites that were not so powerful? Surely those weak ones amongst us, you did those things and slew them in the entrance of the city, for they had no strength when they were terrified at the sound of your shouting. Your shouting. Right? And it says, and I will now then be able to fight. He said, and will I now then be able to fight in this place? Surely here you will all die, and we will all avenge the cause of those cities that you have laid waste. And the inhabitants of Gaash greatly reproached the sons of Yaakov. They reproached them and reviled them. What did Yahushua say? He said when he was reproached, he said, reproach have broken my heart. But what he also said, he said when he was reviled, as Peter wrote, he reviled not back. Let's see what happens. Then he reviled them with their gods. They reviled them with their gods. But Yahuwah said, is it not written in your Torah that you are gods, Elohim? And he continued to cast arrows and stones upon them from the wall, as he was blaspheming and reviling them with their gods. And Yehuda and his brothers heard the words of the inhabitants of Gaash, and their anger was greatly roused. And Yehuda was jealous of his Elohim in this matter. And he called out and said, O Yahuwah, help, send us help to us and our brothers. He said, send us help. And he ran at a distance with all his might, and with his drawn sword in his hand, and he sprang from the earth, and by dint of his strength, he mounted the wall. With Yahuwah, with my Elohim, I can leap over a wall. And his words fell from his hand. And his sword fell from his hand. With Yahuwah, I can leap over a wall. Because he lighteth my lamp. Is your lamp lit? And he put a dent in the ground and leaped over a wall. Yehuda did that. And Yehuda shouted upon the wall. He shouted on the wall. Yahuwah lighteth my lamp. Right? He ran at a distance. Right? And all the men that were upon the wall were terrified. He said, with my Elohim, Yahuwah lighteth my lamp. He said, with my Elohim, I can run through a troop. I can leap over a wall. And some of them fell from the wall into the city and died. And those who were yet upon the wall, when they saw Yehuda's strength, they were greatly afraid and fled for their lives into the city for safety. Right? So people saying, why you mention this? Because you start when you start looking at, he said, with Yahuwah, I can leap over a wall. He said, with him, I can run through a troop. He light my lamp. He said, I'm going to save a humble people. He said, man, these people ain't humble. They fighting. He's like, a humble people. Why? Because there's a reason why they humble, right? This is Book of Yasher, 37:14. And Jacob prayed to Yahuwah for his sons, and he spread forth his hands to Yahuwah. So notice how he spread his hands toward Yahuwah. And he said, Yahuwah, thou art an Elohim, Almighty Elohim. Thou art our Father. Thou didst from us, and we are the works of thine hands. I pray thee, deliver my sons through thy mercy from the hand of their enemies, who are this day coming to fight with them, and save them from their hand. For in thy hand is power and might, and save the few from the many. Right? Save the few from the many. Because like I told you, you have a bunch of people coming at few people, the numbers don't look right. That's like 20 loaves. That's like the man who brought the loaves to Yasha. He had 20 loaves for 200 people. Or six loaves and 2 clusters of grapes for 5,000 people. It don't make no sense, right? It doesn't. Two loaves for all these people? Right? But he said, for many. And he says, verse 15 says, and give unto my sons, thy servants, strength of heart and might to fight with their enemies, to subdue them, and make their enemies fall before them. And let not my sons of their servants die through the hand of the children of Canaan. But if it seem me good in thine eyes to take away the lives of my sons and their servants, take them in thy great mercy through the hands of thy ministers, right? That they may not perish this day by the hands of the kings of the Amorites. And when Jacob ceased praying to Yahuwah, the earth shook. The earth shook from its place. It means an earthquake. Just like when Jonathan went to go fight the army, what happened? It was an earthquake when he went to go fight. And what happened? He said, Yahuwah, you're going to visit you with earthquake, fire, vapor of smoke, and hurricane, right? He said the earth shook and the sun darkened. The sun darkened. And all the kings were terrified, and the great consternation seized them. So it was an eclipse and the earth shook. All at the same time. And guess what it said? And Yahuwah hearkened to the prayer of Jacob, and Yahuwah impressed the hearts of all the kings and their hosts with the terror and awe of the sons of Jacob. For Yahuwah caused them to hear the voice of the chariots and the voices of mighty horses from the sons of Jacob, and their voices of a great army accompanying them. So he sent them some type of apparition. But he said what? And these kings seized with great terror at the sons of Jacob. And whilst they were standing in their quarters, behold, the sons of Jacob advanced upon them with 112 men, with a great, tremendous shouting. And when the kings saw the sons of Jacob advancing toward them, they were still more panic-struck. And they were inclined to retreat from before the sons of Jacob as at the first, and not to fight with them. He said he's going to save a humble people. But you see here, you see Jacob praying to Yahuwah, and Yahuwah helping them by sending earthquakes, by sending things that and illusions and making them see things and all these things, right? Verse 22 says, but they did not retreat, saying it would be a disgrace to us twice. It would be a disgrace to us twice. Right? People saying, what do you mean? It'll be a disgrace to us twice to retreat before the Abri, the Hebrews. Right? Abri, right? And the sons of Jacob came near and advanced against all the kings and the armies, and they saw, and behold, it was a very mighty people, and numerous as the sand of the sea. Right? And the sons of Jacob called unto Yahuwah and said, help us. You know what Jacob said? He prayed to Yahuwah. And the sons of Jacob called to Yahuwah and said, help us, for we trust in thee. Right? So when you're in your uttermost situation, and when it's at death, when it's at ends, you call to Yahuwah for help. But do you trust in him? He said, trust in Yahuwah with all your heart. Lean not to your own mind, your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. But he says, let us not die by the hand of the uncircumcised men. The uncircumcised men. Right? Because everybody didn't get circumcised during that time. Not like today. He says, who this day have come against us. They coming against us. And the sons of Yaakov girded up their weapons of war, and they took in their hands each man a shield and a javelin. And they approached the battle. And guess what happened? And Yehuda, the son of Yaakov, ran first before his brothers. The Yehuda, the son of Yaakov, ran first before his brothers, and 10 of his servants with him. And he went toward the kings. He ran first, right? People saying, why you say that? Bereshit 25:10. And he says, and said to him, your name is Yaakov. No longer shall your name be called Yaakov, but Yasharal shall be your name. It shall be your name. So he called his name Yasharal, and Yaakov, and Yahuwah said to him, I am Yahuwah Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. When did he tell us to do that at? When did he tell us to be fruitful and multiply? In the beginning. When he told Adam to do what? Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. How you say, Rabah Malay. He told him to be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. That was a commandment that he gave to Adam in the garden. He told him to be fruitful and multiply. Be fruitful and multiply. Is it not written in your Torah? What I said you are? I said you are Elohim. Shaphatim, Judges 1:1. He says, after the death of Yahusha, the people of Yasharal inquired of Yahuwah. Didn't what Yaakov did? He inquired of Yahuwah, and he prayed to Yahuwah. And what happened? What happened in the story? Who shall go up first for us against the Canaanites? Who went up first to fight against them? Who went up? Yahuwah said, Yehuda shall go up first. And the son of Yaakov, who went up first? They said Yehuda went up first after they finished praying. Because you know why they did it? Because they trust in Yahuwah. He said Yehuda went up first. They went up first. Oh, you mean the first day of creation? Akkad. He said the earth shook. He said it was darkness and the earth shook when Yehuda went up first. It was darkness over the face of the deep. And the Ruach of Elohim was moving upon the face of the waters, and Yahuwah said, let there be light. Or higher. He said, who went up first? Yehuda went up first. Behold, I have given the land into his hand. Just like you just read multiple times. People say, what does this all mean? Leviticus 23:15. Ye shall count seven Shabua full weeks. Or he say Shabbat weeks, full weeks. 7 weeks. From the day after the Shabbat. From the day that you brought the sheaf, the omer, and waved the offering of the tafunah, ye shall count 50 days, or kamishi'im, to the day after the 7th Shabbat. We're after the day after the 7th Shabbat. What comes after 7? 1. Akkad. 1. It says, then you shall present a grain offering of new grain to Yahuwah. You shall what? You shall bring from your dwelling places 2 loaves of bread to be waved. 2 to be waved in your hand. Make 2 of tenths of an ephah. That he says they shall be of fine flour, and they shall be baked with leaven, kametz, as first fruits to Yahuwah. First fruits to Yahuwah. They should be first fruits to Yahuwah. First fruit. Who went up first? Who went up first? Yehuda went up first. Let's see what happened. So 7 times 7, right? When you look at, when he said 7 times 7, we use the 49. We count 49 days, right? We used to what? equals to 49. 4 plus 9 is 13. That equals to Akkad, first day of creation. What do you say? Akkad-yum. Areb, Bakar, Akkad-yum. Akkad equals to 13. 49 days, evening, Areb, equals you 50th day, right? What happens after the Shabbat? Akkad. Everything's Akkad. Everything's one. Everything's Akkad. He said, who shall go up first? Why did he go up first? He said, man, I asked him for help. He said, man, Yahuwah lighteth my lamp. Where he light your lamp at? He said, know you not that your body's the temple of Yahuwah? Don't you know your body is the lamp? Your body the lamp. You have a physical, you get a lamp, you have a physical lamp, but on the inside there's a candle lit. There's an oil that's burning on the inside that keeps you lit. He said, nah, I get tired. He like, but Yahuwah, I can run through a troop. I can leap over a wall. I can put a dent in the ground and jump on the wall and give a loud shout. He says the 50th day is what? You got 50th day. 5 plus 0 is what? 5. What's the fifth letter of the alphabet? It's ha, or hey, right? Behold, reveal, light. That's what it means. Let there be light. Let there be light. What day is that? The first day of creation. Akkad-yum. Let there be light. Let there be or. Akkad. First day. First, right? So when you look at it, he said, bring 2 loaves. This is the what? This is the fifth letter of the alphabet. He said, bring 2 loaves, right? This is the pictograph. 2 loaves. How many arms you got? You got 2 of them. He said, bring 2 loaves and wave them before Yahuwah. Bring 2 loaves. Right? Bring 2 loaves. And what did the Canaanites say? He said it'd be a disgrace for us to flee from them twice. Matter of fact, how many times did they pray before Yehuda went up? They prayed twice. Yaakov prayed twice. It was the earth shook, and it was darkness over the face. And then guess what? The second time they prayed, he said, who's going to go up first? Akkad. Yehuda going to go up first. Yehuda going to go up first, right? So the word for first fruit is bakur. Bakur, right? The first fruit, the crops, the fruit that ripened was gathered, right? The first fruit, the hasty fruit, right? The first fruits, Akkad, right? First, Rishon, Parah, right? First fruit, right? Bamidbar, Numbers 28-26. The day of Bakar, first fruit, when you offer your grain offering of grain to Yahuwah for your feast of weeks, you shall have a Kudash convocation. You shall not do any ordinary work, but offer a burnt offering with pleasing aroma to Yahuwah, 2 bulls of a herd, 1 ram, 7 male lambs, and a year old. Right? You got to do all that, right? No. All their grain offerings of fine flour mixed with oil. 3/10 of an ephah of each bull. So each one of these, you think how many praises you got. How many praises you got? It says 2/10 of a 1 ram, 1/10 of each of 7 lambs with 1 male goat to make an atonement for you. Besides the regular burnt offerings and your grain offerings, you shall offer to them and their drink offerings. See that you do it without blemish. Without blemish. Without any defects. Right? So the word for work, ordinary work, is malakah, right? Malakah, right? It means occupation, work, business. Why? You got to stop. Stop. Employment, stop, right? Which everybody should have stopped, right? Guess what it means, right? Meme. You got malakah, right? You add up meme according to the mathematical, right? You got what? Mem is 40, lamed is 30, aleph is 1, kaf, right, is 20, and ha is 5, which equals to 96, which equals to 15, which equals to 6. It equals to 6, but you see in the actual malakah, you have malak, but you got to take out the aleph and the ha. Right? You got to take out the aleph and the ha. What does aleph mean? Aleph means strength. Ha means what? Behold. Strengthen what's revealed. Strengthen light. Strengthen what? You get a melek. How you say? A melek. A malak, I mean. But then you have what? Take out the aleph and the kaf, you get malak. But then amazingly, this equals to what? Equals to 6. equals to 6, right? Malakah, right? So the word Shemuth, Exodus 23:13. Three times a year, you shall keep a feast, a Chag to me. You shall keep a Chag matzah, as I commanded you. You shall eat unleavened bread 7 days at the appointed time in the month of Abib. For in it you came out of Mizraim. Now it said, none of you shall appear before me empty. You shouldn't, because you should be sowing in your field. You should be planting and harvesting and gathering it. And how you say? You shall keep the Chag of harvest, or Kutsir, of the first fruit of your labor, of what you sow in the field. Ye shall what? Keep the feast of ingathering in the end of the year, when you gather in from the field the fruit of your labor. 3 times a year you shall offer. 3 times a year shall all your males be pure before Yahuwah. Right? Shall all your males be pure before Yahuwah. So we see people saying, what do you mean? We went over this yesterday, but we see what? Males, right? Going over it again, right? You look at that word zakor, it means male, men, children, man, male, animals, right? Then you have what? You have a woo in the middle of the tent peg in the midst of the kaf, right? You have a tent peg in the middle of the kaf, right? And what does that mean, right? You say, what does the kaf mean? It means joined. It means secure, right? It means joined, secure, zakor, men, male, right? Same word, right? But you see, take out that woo, is the same word you see in Bereshit 1:26. Then Elohim said, let us make Adam in our Salim, and after our Damuth, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the Shamaim, and over the livestock, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. So Yahuwah Elohim created Adam in his own image. In the image of Yahuwah, he created him. Male, Zakar, and female, Nakubah. He created them. Right? When you go to verse 27, you got Wa, Bara, you have Elohim, At, Hadam, right? Basalam, you have Elohim, Bara, At, you have Wu, you have Zakar. You have Wu, Nakubah, right? You see, you have the Wu in the midst. You have the U in the midst. They join together as one. Male and female. What does he mean, male and female? Male and female joined together as one, right? Joined together. Joined together. Why? Because you're joined together. And what happens? You present yourself as Adam, right? When Adam sinned, he said, where are you, Adam? He didn't ask for the Kuah. Where are you? Because the woman he wasn't thinking about. Because the woman was already joined to him. She was already joined to him. So he called to Adam, or he mean Zakor. He called to the male, but she was already joined to him. But he called to him first. Amazingly, he called to him first. Yeah, you know why he called him first? Right, this is Zechariah 12:6. On that day, I will make the clans of Yehuda like a blazing pot in the midst of woods. Why? What do you mean blazing pot? Like fire. I'm going to make them like fire, like a flaming torch among sheaves. What happens when you get in the sheaves? What is the chaff to the wheat? What is this? He said, man, I burn it up. And they shall devour the right and to the left, all the surrounding peoples. What do you mean? They're going to be a fire. They're going to be the word. Guess what it says? While Jerusalem, it says, while Jerusalem shall again be inhabited in its place, in Jerusalem. And Yahuwah will give the salvation to the tents of Yehuda first. Who's going to go up first? Who's going to go up first? Who's going to go up first and fight against the Canaanites? Who ran up first after Yaakov prayed? After the earthquake and it was darkness. Who went up first? Who went up first? And Yehuda ran up first. He ran on the wall. He put a dent in the ground and he leaped on the wall. He gave a loud shriek. He gave a loud cry. He gave a loud cry on the wall because Yahuwah lit his lamp. it says that the kabod of the house of David, Daud, and the kabod of the inhabitants of Jerusalem may not surpass that of Yehuda. On that day, Yahuwah will protect the inhabitants of Jerusalem, so that the feeblest among them will be like David. Like David? They're going to be like David? And the house of David shall be like Elohim. They're going to be like what? Daud, they're going to be like Elohim. What do you mean Elohim? Like gods. Like the Elohim that Yahuwah said you were. Like the Elohim that Yahusha said you were. The ones who defend the fatherless, the widows, the one who defends the weak, and those who are destitute. He said, didn't I say you were Elohim? We're not talking about heroes. We're not talking about gods. We're not talking about Marvel. He said, didn't I say that you were Elohim? He says, guess what he says? Shall be like like Elohim, like the Malak of Yahuwah. They're going to be like the Malak of Yahuwah. It says, going before them. You're going to be just like a Malak going before you, like a messenger, right? And it says, going before them. You're going to be just like him. Going before them. You're going to be just like that. Going before them. It says, and on that day, I will seek to destroy all the nations, the Goyim, that come against Jerusalem. He said, I'm going to seek to destroy that. He said, how you going to, you can't stop that, right? He said, Yekaziel 37 and 12 through 28. He says, therefore, Nabah, and say to them, thus says Yahuwah Elohim, behold, I will open your graves and raise you from your graves, O my people, and I will bring you into the land of Yasharal, and ye shall know that I am Yahuwah when I open your graves and raise you from the graves. O my people, I will put my Ruach within you. Where else shall I go from your Ruach? When he put the Ruach in him? We said, when Akadiyum. He said, what? Isn't that written in your Torah? I said, you Elohim. The Ruach were moving upon the face of the waters. When it was darkness. Just like it was darkness when your cold prayed and it was earth shook. And he says, and you shall live. And you shall live. What are your was praying? That his sons live and help them defeat the battle. And he said, and you shall live. And I will place you in your own land, and then you shall know that I am Yahuwah. I have spoken, and I will do it, declares Yahuwah, and I will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people, a great and powerful people, such as there ever was. It says, and the word of Yahuwah came to me, son of Adam, take a stick and write it on it for Yehuda, and for the people of Yasharal associated with him, and take another stick and write on it for Yehusaf, the stick of Ephraim, and all the house of Yasharal associated with him, and join them one to another into one stick, that they may become one in my hand. And when your people say to you, will you not tell us what you mean by these? Say to them, thus says Yahuwah Elohim, behold, I am about to take the stick of Yehusaf that is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribe of Yasharal associated with him, and I will join with the stick of Yehuda, and make them one stick, that they may be one in my hand. When the sticks on which you write are in your hand before their eyes, then say to them, thus says Yahuwah Elohim, behold, I will take the people of Yasharal from the nations among which they have gone, and I will gather them from all around and bring them into their own land, and I will make them one nation in the land on the mountains of Yasharal, and one Malak shall be king over all. It says, and they shall be no longer two nations, and no longer divided into two kingdoms. They shall not defile themselves any more with their idols, and their detestable things with any of their transgressions, but I will save them from their backsliding, from which they have sinned, and will cleanse them, and they shall be my people, and I will be their Elohim. My servant David, right, shall be king over them. David. We talked about yesterday, David. But he says, he shall be king over them, that they shall all be one shepherd. He says, it says, and they shall all have one shepherd. One shepherd. That they shall walk in my rules and be careful to obey my statutes. They shall dwell in the land that I gave to my servant Jacob, where your fathers lived. They and their children and their children's children shall dwell there forever. And David, my servant, shall be prince forever. prince, ruler forever. And I will make a covenant of shalom, peace with them, and I shall have an everlasting covenant with them. Right? Word for king is Malek. Right? Malak, Mim, Lamed, and Kaf. Right? Kaf in the final form. Right? The Kef in the final form. It means king, royal. Right? So you look at Mim, Lamed, and Kaf. You got 40, 30, 20. Equals to 90, equals to 9. You got Malekah equals to 6. That means no work. But then you have Malek equals to 9. It means king. You said David going to be king. He said the house of David going to be like Elohim. The people is going to be like David. Like Daud. Like David. Like Daud. This Shamuel 16:11. And Shamuel said to Yeshai, all your sons are here? And he said, there remains yet the youngest. But behold, he is keeping sheep. And Shamuel said to Yeshai, send and get him, for we will not sit down till he comes here. And he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy and had beautiful eyes and was handsome. And Yahuwah said, arise, anoint him, for this is he. Then Shamuel took the horn of oil and anointed or mashak him in the midst of his brothers. And the ruach of Yahuwah rested upon Daud from that day forward. Then Shamuel rose and went to Ramah. Matthew 26 and 7. A woman came up to him with an alabaster flask and a very expensive ointment, and she poured it on his head as he reclined at the table. And when the disciples saw it, they were indignant, saying, why is this waste? For this could have been sold for a large sum and given to the poor. But Yahusha, I thought it was David. But Yahusha, aware of this, because he understands the Torah, said to them, why do you trouble the woman? That's all disciples do, just trouble people. For she has done a beautiful thing to me. For you always have the poor with you, but you will not always have me. I am pouring this ointment on my body. She has done it to prepare me for my burial. Truly I say to you, wherever this truth is proclaimed in the whole world, what she has done will be told in memory of her. Right, this is Yuchanan 14:1. Let not your hearts be troubled. Believe in Elohim Yahuwah, believe also in me. In my father's house are many rooms. If it were not so, would I have told you? Because Yahuwah is not a man that he should lie. Yahuwah said, and guess what? He is not a man that he should lie. He said, the son only do what the father do. Whatever the father does, the son does likewise. He said, I wouldn't have told you. Therefore, I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go to prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you to myself, that where I am, there you may be also. Yahushua, Mashiach, is going up first. He going first. That's why he said, I'm going. Why? Because he going up first. I'm going up first. Why? I'm going first into the battle. I got to go prepare a place for you. He said, they prayed to, Yahshua prayed and he said, who's going to go up first? He said, Yehuda has gone up first. I've given it in their hand. And when Yaakov, whose name was changed, Yahshua prayed, and the earth shook, and it was darkness, and guess what happened? Yehuda ran up first into the battle. Guess what he says? He says, and guess what he says? He says, and if I go to prepare a place for you, I will come again and will take you to myself, that where I am, there you may be also. And you know that the way to where I am going. Thomas said to him, Adon, we do not know where you are going. How can we know the way? Yahushua said to him, I am the way. I am the truth, the Amath, and Kai. No one comes to the Father except through me. Because he said, I go up first. Nobody coming through here. You ain't coming through here except you coming through me. Why? Why is he doing that? Because he's fighting for you. What do you mean? Yahushua went into the battle to fight for you. Right? This is Yuchanan 18:1. When Yahushua had spoken these words, he went out with his disciples across the brook of Kidron, where there was a garden, which he and his disciples entered. Now Judas, who betrayed him, also knew the place, For Yahushua often met there with his disciples. So Judas, having procured a band of soldiers and some officers from the chief priests and the Pharisees, went there with lanterns and torches and weapons. Then Yahushua, knowing all that would happen to him, came forward and said to them, "Whom do you seek?" They answered him, Yahushua of Nazareth. Yahushua said to them, "I am he." He's like, "I'm going up first." Who gonna go up first? I'm going up first. Judas, who betrayed him, was standing with them. When Yahushua said to them, "I am he drew back and fell to the ground, because the earth shook. Oh, you say what happened when Yehuda cried out? He said, man, it was darkness and the earth shook. And he said the men were terrified. In the book of Yash, he said they were terrified when he said the earth shook. He said, man, he said, so he asked them again. How many times Yehuda cried out? He did it twice. He leaped on the wall. And then he cried out. And he said, whom do you seek? And they said, Yahushua of Nazareth. Yahushua answered, I told you, I am he. I told you I'm the son of Yahuwah. Didn't I not tell you that before? So if you seek me, let the men go, because I'm going up first. This was to fulfill the word that was spoken. Of those you have gave me, I have lost not one. Then Simon Kepha, having a sword, drew it and struck off the high Kahan's servants and cut off his right ear. The servant's name was Malchus. So Yahushua said to Kepha, put your sword back in your sheath. Shall I not drink of the cup that my father has given me? So the band of soldiers and the captains and the officers and the Yahudim arrested Yahushua and bound him first, and they led him to Ananias, for he was the father-in-law of Caiaphas. He was the high Kahan that year. He was Caiaphas, and who had advised the Yahudim that it would be expedient that one man should die for the people. Right? Yahushua said, I am he twice. And then he just brings to the priest. How many loaves you supposed to bring to the priest? 2 loaves. Yuchanan 19:7, Yahudim answered, we have a law, and according to our law, he ought to die. He made himself the son of Yahuwah. When Pilate heard this statement, he was even more afraid. He was scared. He said, he's the son of Yahuwah. He was terrified. He entered his headquarters again and said to Yahushua, where are you from? But Yahushua gave no answer. So Pilate said to him, you will not speak to me? Do you not know that I have authority to release you and crucify you? To crucify you? Yahushua answered him, you have no authority over me unless it had been given to you from above. He was saying, how bold you got to be like that? Therefore, he who delivered me over to you has the greater sin. For then on Pilate sought to release him. But Yahudim cried out, if you release this man, you are not a friend of Caesar's. Everyone who makes himself a king, he make himself a king, opposes Caesar. So Pilate heard us these words. He brought Yahushua out and sat down on the judgment seat at the place of stone of the payment in Aramaic, Gabbatha. Now it was the preparation of the Pesach. It was about the 6th hour, and he said to the Yahudim, behold your king. Behold your king. Because he was already anointed. He was already the Malak. He said the feeblest of them going to be like David, like Daud. Like the messenger that goes before the children of Yasharal. So who went up first? Yahushua went before them. He said, I go to prepare a place. I went before you. He went into the battle first. I went up first. I went into the battle first to fight against these shadim, against these demons, against these people, against this rebellious house who follow Azazel, Shemjaza, and Asbaal, and the fallen. I went up first to fight against them, to bring you to the place where you belong, right? Guess what he says? Behold your Malak, right? Behold your Malak. Then he said they cried out, away with him, Away with him. Crucify him. Pilate said to them, shall I crucify your king? Why are you killing Malak, the king, who going before you to prepare a place and do all these things? Why are you killing the king? Why are you killing the Malak? Why are you killing the head? The chief priest answered, we have no king but Caesar. So that he delivered him over to be crucified. This Yeshayahu 41:26. Who declared it from the beginning? Who did it? That we might know. Who said you were Elohim from the beginning? Yahusha said it. Didn't you not read in your Torah? I said you were Elohim. And beforehand, that we might say he is right. Can you say he is right? Can you say it right? Can you say it yet? There was none who declared it, none who proclaimed it, none who heard your words. He said, didn't he say he was the son of Yahuwah? He said he was the son of Yahuwah, and the man was scared. Where are you from? He already said it before. He already said, I was first, I was first to say to Saul. I was first. When did he say that? Behold, here they are. And I give to Jerusalem a herald of good news. Who was first to do that? Yahusha said, I did it. I go up first. I'm telling you first. You remember what you were on the first day? He said, isn't that written in your Torah? I said you were Elohim. You remember what you said? You remember what y'all prayed? Who gonna go up first? You remember that? I said it was you. I came into my own people who was to go up first, and they didn't even receive me. He said, but when I look, guess what he said? But when I look, there is no one. Among these, there is no counselor. It says, who, when I ask, gives an answer. Why do you think Yahusha, people saying, why he ain't answer not a word? He ain't answer not a word. He said, where are you from? He ain't say nothing. He said, where are you from? He gave not an answer. He said, behold, they are all a delusion. Their works are nothing. He said, their metal images are empty, wind. Because that's what they were worshiping. He said, they all a delusion. All the stuff that they're actually, think about everything they said. He said he the son of Yahuwah. Where are you from? They all, in their consciousness, they don't even know. Yeshayahu 9:6. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders. And his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty Elohim, the Everlasting Father, the Ruler of Shalom. He said Yehuda gonna be like a prince, right? A ruler, right? But then you see here, he said there was no counselor. He said, when did the counselor disappear? When there was no counselor. But he said nothing to them. He didn't even give an answer. This is 1 Samuel 8:7. And Yahuwah said to Samuel, obey their voice. Why do you think Pilate obeyed their voice? We have no king but Caesar. We have no Malak but Caesar. Obey their voice in all that they say to you, for they have not rejected you, but they have rejected me from being Malak over them. Why do you think they say, we have no Malak but Caesar? And he obeyed them. He said, obey their voice. According to all the deeds that they have done, from the day I brought them out of the land of Mizraim, even unto this day, forsaking me and serving other gods. Who do you think Caesar was and all these other people? They were other gods. Why do you think he was saying that? You serving them. So they but he says, so they are also doing to you. They're rejecting you. Now then, obey their voice, I'm sorry. Only you shall solemnly warn them and show them the ways of the king who shall reign over them. What do you think we're doing now? We're showing you the ways of the king right now. That's going to rule over them. But the way that the king that they had Saul and David. Saul didn't listen to Yahuwah. He got Shadim, and then David sinned with Bathsheba. He set up a man and got him killed. So is David? He said all the feeble is going to be like David. Why would you want to be like him? All the feeble is going to be like him. like a malak going before them, right? But who was the malak going before them? Who was really David? Who was the anointed king that they rejected? Yahushua Mashiach was that rejected king. Yeshayahu 53:3. He was despised and rejected by men and women and children and leaders and shepherds and elders. He, a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief. As one, isn't that what darkness means? Darkness meant misery, sorrow. It meant that. He said, darkness is just a light to you. It says, grief. And as one from men, he hid their faces. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. Yet we esteemed him stricken, smitten of Elohim, and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. Upon him the chastisement that brought us shalom. He said he's going to make a covenant of peace with the Yehuda. A covenant of shalom. And by his wounds we are healed. We are healed by his wounds. It says, and we are like sheep gone astray. We have turned everyone to his own way. Everybody worshiping idols. Everybody going doing their own thing. Leaning to their own understanding. In all their ways, they're not acknowledging Yahuwah. It says, and Yahuwah has laid on him the iniquity of us all. He laid on him the iniquities of all, past, present, and future. He already seen what people are going to do. Matthew 27:45. And they sat down and kept watch over him. And over his head they put a charge against him, which read, this is Yahusha, the Malaka, the Yahudim. What were you supposed to do? You're supposed to do no work. Malakah. He was the sixth. Then two robbers who were crucified with him, one on the right hand and one on the left. 2 sticks, 2 breads. Shani, Lakan. Right? And guess what he says? And those who passed by derided him, wagging their heads. Because and saying, you would destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days. Save yourself. He rebuilding it. What do you mean rebuilding what? How many times you supposed to appear before him? 3 times a year. He said in 3 days, rebuilding it. What do you mean he's going to rebuild it? Save yourself. If you are the son of Yahuwah, come down from the totality, from the top, from the totality, from the sign, mark, signature, exit, 4 corners. So also the chief priests and the scribes and the elders mocked him, saying, he saves others, he cannot save himself. What do you mean he saves others? He said, it's not written in your Torah, I said you Elohim. What did he say? He said, defend the fatherless, the widows, the poor, and the destitute. He was an Elohim. He saved others. And he said, didn't I say in your law you Elohim? Didn't I say that's what you are? He says, he saved others. He cannot save himself. He is the Malach Yasharal. Let him come down from the cross, and we will believe him. Let him come down. They wouldn't believe him even if he came down. They would have mocked him even more if he came down, and the Torah wouldn't have been fulfilled. If he would have came down, then the Ruach wouldn't be moving upon the face of the waters. Because when the people came here, just like any other waters, he said in Book of Chazon, he said the people that I saw were nations, waters that I saw were peoples, nations, and tongues. He had to move upon the face of the waters. And amazingly, what happened after this? He trusted Elohim. Let him deliver him now. For he said, I am the son of Yahuwah. And the 2 robbers were crucified with him, reviled also in the same. Now from the 6th hour, Malakah. No work. There was darkness over the land until the 9th hour. Malak. There was darkness. He said, Dawud said, darkness is light to you. When your code prayed to Yahuwah, it was darkness over the face of the deep. It was darkness over the land, and the earth shook. Then Yahuwah did what? And guess what he said? And it says, and about the 9th hour, it says, and now from the 6th to the 9th hour, there was darkness over the land until the 9th hour. And about the 9th hour, Yahushua cried out. What did Yahuwah do after the land shook? And it was darkness over the land. When your code prayed, he cried out with a loud shriek, and the men were afraid. He said, who shall go up first for us? He cried out. with a loud voice saying, Aliyah, Aliyah, lama sabatana, ma Elohim, why is thou forsaken? He was praying. He was praying. Just like Yaakov did. And the bystanders hearing it said, this man is calling for Aliyah. And one of them ran and took a sponge and filled it with sour wine and put it on a reed and gave it to him to drink. But the others said, let's see what Aliyah will come and save him. And Yahusha cried out again with a loud voice and yielded up the Ruach. A loud shriek like Yehuda did on the wall when he leaped and put a dent in the ground and leaped over the wall. He said, with Yahuwah, I leap over a wall with my Elohim. Why do you think he was high up above the people? He said, with Yahuwah, I leap over a wall. He gave a loud shriek on the wall. And the people were afraid. They were scared. And he said he yielded up the Ruach. He yielded up the Ruach. This is Acts 1 and 6. So when they had come together, they asked him, Adon, will you at this time restore us the Malkuth, the kingdom of Yasharal? He said, you're going to be given power. He said, the house of Yehuda going to be like, the people's going to be like David? No, they're going to be like somebody else. They're going to be like somebody else. Not like Daud, like a Malak going before him. He's going to be like somebody else. They're going to be like Elohim. The house of Daud going to be like Elohim, like a Malak going before him, and they're going to make a covenant of shalom with them. But we ain't talking about David, Daud. David is dead. And it's like Peter said, their scepter is here. So who you talking about? Who you going to be like? Who the feeble is going to be like? Who the one going to give you, going to light your lamp that you may leap over a wall? Who the one going to make you, make you who you are again, Elohim? And it says what? And he said to them, is it not, he said to them, it is not for you to know the times and seasons that the Father has fixed by his own authority. Do you understand that these things are fixed? Just like we went over the 364-day cycle and the 7 celestial chariots and the 11 celestial spheres and the actual seasonal cycles, these things are fixed. You can't even change it. It's been fixed since the beginning. But you will receive power when the Kadush Ruach has come upon you, huh? A great and powerful people, such as there never was. Isn't the day of Yahuwah a day of darkness and not light? A powerful people come upon you, and you will be my witnesses in Jerusalem and all Judea and in all the earth. Yehuda and all the earth. All the earth. So if you know it, he said, what do you mean? So you're a witness. You're a witness. You are a witness. You all are a witness. Acts 2 and 1. And when the Chag Shabua arrived, first fruit, Feast of Weeks, 49 days. The 50th day, behold, revealed, light, that's what it means. The 5th letter of the alphabet arrived. Today is the day. And they were all together in one place, Akkad, and suddenly there came from Shamaim a sound like a rushing mighty wind. Isn't that what Ruach means? Ruach means wind. It means wind. And it filled the entire house where they were sitting. The house where they were sitting. And dividing of tongues as of fire. Is not the bar like fire? He said a great and mighty people. It's gonna be like what? The Garden of Eden in front of them, but it's gonna be fire. It's gonna be desolate behind them. He said, "Is not my word like my word like fire?" They were all in the house. Remember the house, the beginning, the creation of the Elohims. We had a house. He said the beginning, the creation of the Elohims, the gods. The gods of the earth. The ones who are going to defend the fatherless, the widows, the ones who are going to defend the house, the poor people and the needy, the one who going to step in and defend those people who are weak. You are an Elohim. We ain't talking about Thor and the Avengers. We're talking about you. You're supposed to do that. We ain't talking about Black Panther. We talking about you. We ain't talking about Spider-Man. We talking about you. Guess what it says? And the dividing of tongues of fire and appeared unto them and rested on each of them. And they were all filled with the Kudash Ruach and began to speak in other languages as the Ruach gave them utterance. Why? Now there were dwelling in Jerusalem Yahudim, devout men of every nation under Shamayim. And at the sound of the multitude came together, and they were bewildered, because each one of them hearing them speak in their own language. They were all amazed and astonished, saying, Are not all these that speaking Galileans? And how is it that we all hear, each of us, in our own native tongue, language, Parthians, Medes, Elamites, residents of Mesopotamia, Judea, and Cappadocia, and Pontus, and Asia, and Phrygia, and Pamphylia, Mizraim, and parts of Libya, belonging to Cyrene, and visitors of Rome, both Yahudim and converts, proselytes, Cretans and Arabians. We hear them telling in our own language the mighty works of Yahuwah. What are the mighty works of Yahuwah? Bereshith bara Elohim at Hashamayim ut ha'aretz. Ruach marakaf al panim hamayim. The earth, the Ruach was moving upon the face of the waters, and it was darkness over the face of the deep. The house, the beginning of the creation of Elohim, and Elohim said, let there be or. Elohim separated the light from the darkness, and Elohim said, evening, morning, akadiyum. You're hearing the wonderful works of Yahuwah. What are the wonderful works of Yahuwah? The beginning. The beginning. That's why he told Daud, said, don't lose sight of these things. Yahuwah created the Shamayim in the earth, the sea, and everything in it. If you don't lose sight of these things, your sleep will be sweet. Is it not written in your Torah? The wonderful works of Yahuwah. People saying, why is the beginning so important? It's always going to be important. Just like the Shabbat, every day, just like you look at the Akadiyum, and you look at the seventh day. But when you look at this day, you see who's your king, your Malak. This 1 Corinthians 15:16. For if the dead are not raised, not even Yahushua Mashiach has been raised. And if Mashiach has not been raised, your amunah, your faith is futile. Everything you believe is futile. No matter if you keep, I don't care how many feasts you keep. I don't care how many mu'ahs you keep. I don't care how many feasts you keep, anything you kept. How many times you observe it. If you don't know Yahushua Mashiach, everything you do is futile. It's all worthless. It's all worthless. Nobody can come to Yahuwah except through him. Right? You can prepare all the meals you want and do everything you want, everything for your carnal self. But if you don't understand who he is on the inward man, as he said, what shall we do? He said, be immersed, every one of you, in the name of Yahushua for the remission of sins, and you shall receive the gift of the Ruach HaKadosh. He said, have you been immersed? He said, have you received the Ruach since you believe? Because if you have received the Ruach since you believe, then guess what? Is it not written in your Torah, I said you are Elohim? And if he called you an Elohim, and whom the word of Yahuwah came, you can't break it. That's who you are. And you have a job to do. Or they say not a job, but he said employed. And it says, he said, your faith is futile, it's worthless, and you are still in your sins. You still in your sins. If Mashiach be not raised, you still in your sin. Remember he said, where shall I go from your Ruach? If I go to ascend in the Shamayim, if I go all the way past Pluto, past the Pegasus galaxy, all the way to the first Shamayim, he said, man, you there. If I go all the way to the depths of Sheol, if I go all the way to Hades, the underworld, where all the different shapeshifters and lichens and all the other beings exist, he said, you there too. He said, if I built my bed in the depths of the sea, you can go all the way to the depths of the sea, swim all the way to the bottom of the ocean, and build an underground city. He said, I'm there too. But you still in your sins if Mashiach not raised. Where are you going to go from his Ruach? He said, then those all who have fallen asleep in Yahushua Mashiach have perished. Why? If Mashiach be not raised, everybody's going to die. He said, you perish. What do you mean perish? They already dead. No, he's talking about the second death. He said, if in Yahushua Mashiach we have tikva in life only, we are all people most to be pitied or most miserable because we in darkness. Because if you only have hope in this life, then you're in darkness. You're in darkness. You got to have hope. You got to have tikva for the next life. And Yahushua Mashiach is that for the next life. Because you live in this life, but in the next life, you want to live. He said, he that believeth on me, as the scripture said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. He said, search the scriptures. For in them you think you have eternal life. They talking about me. They are proclaiming me. They are writing about me. Guess what it says? But in fact, Yahushua Mashiach has been raised from the dead, the first fruit, Bakur, of those who have fallen asleep. He the first one to do it. Who shall go up first? I go to prepare a place for you. He prayed to Yahshua, who gonna go up first and fight for us? Death is swallowed up in victory. How did Yahushua beat death? By going up first. He beat it. The first fruit of those who fall asleep. For as by Adam came death. Adam came death. Because Adam fell. Adam fell. He fell. When Adam and Yahuwah presented themselves before Yahuwah, they hid themselves. He's like, where you at? You supposed to present yourself to Yahuwah. He's like, man, the woman. He's like, what you mean? The woman ain't got nothing to do with you. Remember what Abraham, he said, because Abraham obeyed my laws, my statutes, my commandments. He's like, man, you got to do it. Why? Because if you don't do it, nobody does it. Right? Because you have to do it. Why? Because I put you, when y'all were joined together, who did I take out to be your Azar? And he says, for as by Adam came death, and by Adam has also, or he says man, but Adam also came the resurrection, because he the second Adam. He to bring you back to how it was in the beginning. He the second Adam. Let me guess, you're going to be the first Adam. He said, let man have authority to fish the sea, fowls every creeping thing over all the earth, and let every herb-yielding seed be for food. But then you're going to go to the second Adam, and you know what? Forget about that. How much sense did that make? But it says, it has come also the resurrection of the dead. For as in Adam all died. So in Yahushua Mashiach shall all be made alive. Everybody going to be made alive. Yahushua Mashiach is for the second death. Because you're going to die. Adam's there in this life. But Yahushua Mashiach, it's best that you know him. It's best that you follow him. It's best that you do what he says. Why? So then in the second death, he can fight for you. Because who's going to go up first? Who went up first? He did. Who's sitting at the right hand of Yahuwah making intercession for you, fighting for you? That he don't destroy you right now. Yahushua Mashiach is. Who shall go up first? And shall be made alive, right? But each in his own order. Mashiach, the first fruit, because he the first one, the first fruit. He them two loaves, them two sticks, he made them one. Them two loaves, he waving in the air, nefuth. He the two loaves in your hand. Like the pictograph. Then at his coming, all who belong to Mashiach, everybody who put him on. Because all that immersion Yahushua had put him on. And when you put on Yahushua Mashiach, you are no longer in darkness. But or has shined inside of you. Like he says what? Till the day dawn and the day star arise in your heart. As Kephar wrote. He said, the day of Yahuwah, he said, isn't the day of Yahuwah going to come like a burning in the stubble? And Malachi wrote, man, it's going to be burning. It's going to be burning here. But he said what? Until the day dawn and the day star arise. Just like Old Solomon said, he said, just as a man wait for the sun, he said, Yahuwah is my son. Yahuwah is my son. Right? This Aleph Yuchanan, John 2:24. Let what you heard in the beginning abide in you. If what you heard from the beginning abides in you, inside of you, then you too will abide in the bin and in the ab, the strength of the house and the life of the house, your body. For Shaman is my throne, the earth is my footstool. He said, what ba'ith will you build for me? What house? He said, you'll be in me, and I in you, the Father and the Son. And this is the promise. Oh, you mean the utterance, the amar, the debar. It is the promise. His debar is the promise that he has made to us. Eternal life. So he said, he that endureth to the end shall be saved. He said, you be hated among all by all nations, Goyim, for his name's sake. Right? All the enemies. How you say? All the enemies. So this Yom, this is how you say Chag Shabua, but it's also a day to receive Yahushua Mashiach, to receive the Ruach, but it's also to walk in who you are, because it's not written in your Torah that you are Elohim. And if he called you an Elohim, until the for whom the word of Yahuwah came to you, it came on the Kadiyum. Matter of fact, it came to Yasharal, and he had not dealt with any other nation. It came to Yehuda first. It came to Yehuda first. Why? Because you are witnesses. You are a witness of his ascension. Not only his ascension, but his death. You understand it. So therefore, is it not written in your Torah that you are Elohim? And if he called you an Elohim and whom the word of Yahuwah came, then the scripture cannot be broken. You can't break the Torah. You can't even change it. I am Yahuwah, I change not. I am Yahuwah, I change not. For the meek shall inherit the earth. The meek shall inherit the earth.